In a recent video, we looked at why the Sith Lord Darth Bane would have never trained Anakin Skywalker as a Sith apprentice like Darth Sidious did. In that video, we discussed Bane's writings related to how a Sith Lord should choose an apprentice within the Rule of Two era, which were found within the Legends reference book, the Book of Sith. In regards to this topic, Bane directly wrote, quote, "Seek out those who have not yet been discovered or subjected to Jedi corruption." Therefore, that video argued that having understood the potential dangers that could result if a Sith Lord decided to train an apprentice who had previously been discovered by the Jedi Order and then trained as a Jedi, Bane would not have trained Anakin Skywalker as a Sith apprentice. In this way, unlike Sidious, Bane would have attempted to find an apprentice who had no connection to the Jedi Order or the light side of the Force in order to ensure the Sith Order continued and worked towards the Sith grand plan of destroying the Republic and Jedi Order. In today's video, we'll look at another way that Darth Bane would have significantly differed from Darth Sidious regarding the training of Darth Vader as his Sith apprentice. Whereas in the previous video, we argued that Darth Bane would have never trained Anakin Skywalker as a Sith apprentice from the beginning, today we'll argue that even if Darth Bane did accept Darth Vader as his Sith apprentice, Bane would have never trained Vader in the way that Sidious did, instead implementing a completely different approach to the training of Vader. In describing the differences in the training philosophies of Sidious and Bane regarding how to best train a Sith apprentice, I'll also demonstrate why Sidious's way of training Vader was a disaster for the Sith Order that had been started by Bane a millennium earlier. I'll again note here at the beginning of the video that this video will discuss sources that are found in both the current canon and also in Legends, but I'll be sure to point out when I'm referring to material that is canon and material that is Legends. To begin, I'm going to focus on how Sidious's way of training Vader has been presented in the current canon, particularly within the 2020 Darth Vader comic series. In the aftermath of The Empire Strikes Back, in relation to numerous actions Darth Vader took that were connected to his past as Anakin Skywalker, Sidious saw Vader as a traitor for these actions, and even more, interpreted them as demonstrating a certain amount of weakness within his apprentice. As seen within issue number 6 of this comic series, this caused Sidious to lash out at Vader, force choking him, and ultimately causing significant damage to Vader's suit and cybernetics. Sidious expressly stated his reason for doing this, telling Vader that he had been broken so that he could once again be rebuilt using his own strength, a mission that would begin upon Mustafar. But the important point for our video can be found in what Sidious revealed to not just Vader, but also to Mas Amedda after leaving Vader on Mustafar. In revealing his plan for Vader to Mas Amedda, Sidious was clear. He would turn Vader's pain into fear and his fear into anger. As Sidious also seems to reveal in this issue, this wasn't something that Sidious was implementing for the first time in this moment, but something he set out to achieve in the past as well, explaining that Vader had, quote, learned and forgotten these lessons before. This wasn't the only time Sidious expressed his position on the use of pain and fear in regards to achieving power regarding his apprentice Darth Vader. This was also seen within issue number 11 of the 2020 Darth Vader comic series, which again is a canon source. For Sidious, the path to power was clear: pain, fear, anger, power. Even more, Sidious told Vader that so long as he was Sidious's Sith apprentice, he would never escape, quote, terrible pain, as this was a requirement for achieving power. This issue seems to reference the pain that Vader experienced previously when Sidious destroyed his cybernetics, with Sidious reminding Vader that he tore him to pieces previously. But Sidious was also referencing pain of a different kind as well, a pain that Vader could feel burning both his flesh and his mind, ready to incinerate him in an instant, this pain being a result of Sidious's tremendous power. Therefore, the point is clear. For Sidious, pain and fear were a requirement for achieving anger, which would then provide a path to power. In regards to training his apprentice Darth Vader, Sidious clearly saw pain and fear as being valuable, where it was a necessary component of achieving power. According to Sidious, no matter how many times it required, Vader had to experience pain in order for Vader to experience fear, which would then lead to anger and ultimately resulting in power. However, while Sidious saw both pain and fear as valuable and necessary components in Vader's training as a Sith, Darth Bane came to a completely different conclusion when considering if pain and fear were useful when training his apprentice Darth Zana. Within the Legends novel Rule of Two, Darth Bane made his position on the use of pain known during the earliest days of Darth Zana's training. The novel reveals that early in Xana's training, Bane was committed to and had no intention of injuring or harming Xana. Bane was able to draw from the experiences of his own life to reach this conclusion. He recognized that the beatings inflicted upon him by his father Hurst had caused Bane to hate and despise his father. From this, Bane recognized that causing pain when training Xana would accomplish nothing except for Xana to begin to also hate and despise him. Bane saw that this would significantly limit her training in the ways of the dark side of the Force, likely impeding the necessary motivation Xana would have to learn about the dark side. Instead of utilizing pain in his training of Xana, Bane saw that it was far more valuable for him to earn Xana's respect and admiration. Only then could she adequately learn about the power available through the dark side. Importantly, although the Rule of Two novel demonstrates that Darth Bane reached this conclusion in the earliest days of Darth Xana's training, even a decade after she began her training as a Sith, the novel reveals that during this decade, Bane, quote, hadn't been cruel or abusive. While utilizing pain was a necessary requirement for Sidious in his training of Vader, it had no place in how Bane trained Xana. The Rule of Two novel also reveals how Darth Bane felt about the use of fear when training his apprentice Darth Xana. Again, right from the beginning of Bane's training of Xana, Bane was clear that fear was not necessary or a positive component when training a Sith apprentice. In this regard, Bane saw it as unhelpful for Xana to fear and be afraid of him, and right from the beginning of her training, Bane recognized it as a positive that she wasn't afraid of him. In order to adequately train Xana, Bane did not want her to be afraid of him. Instead, Bane was adamant that, quote, the only thing he needed her to be afraid of was failure. Therefore, Darth Sidious and Darth Bane had completely different approaches when it came to training their Sith apprentices. While pain and fear seemed to be crucial components to Sidious's training of Darth Vader, and ultimately to acquiring power through the dark side, Bane saw these not just as not required for Darth Xana to achieve power through the dark side, but instead saw them as unhelpful, and something that would be a negative in her training. For Bane, far more important was that Xana respected and admired him, and didn't fear him, but instead was afraid of failure. I think the importance and value of a Sith Master earning the respect and admiration of their apprentice is clear in the respective outcomes of Darth Bane and Darth Sidious. While Sidious was confident that anger and power would result from Vader's pain and fear, Bane clearly recognized that the results that were produced from a Sith Master's reliance on pain and fear were not necessarily positive for the Sith Order. From the Rule of Two novel, Bane likely understood that the results that were produced by such training, such as the potential for the Sith apprentice to hate and despise the Sith Master, could also be directed not towards a particular goal with the dark side of the Force, but directed at the Sith Master. Comparing the outcomes of Bane and Sidious are important in this regard. In the end, Darth Vader turned against Darth Sidious, again becoming Anakin Skywalker as he found redemption back into the light side of the Force. This action destroyed the Sith Order that began with Bane a millennium earlier. On the other hand, while Darth Bane and Darth Xana had their inevitable confrontation as required by the Rule of Two, following Xana's victory, Bane's apprentice would carry on the legacy that began with him. As Xana would tell her new Sith apprentice Darth Cognis at the end of the final novel in the Darth Bane trilogy, Dynasty of Evil, quote, Bane reinvented the Sith. We are his legacy, and though he is gone, his legacy will endure. Even after she defeated him and took the title of Dark Lord of the Sith, Darth Bane still had Darth Xana's respect and admiration, something he set out to earn 2 decades earlier. Although both Sith apprentices, namely Xana and Vader, emerged victorious against their Sith Masters, Bane and Sidious, the outcome really couldn't have been more different, which I believe is a result of how each of them was trained. Bane, who didn't utilize pain and fear in his training of Xana, was defeated by Xana in furtherance of the Sith Grand Plan and the Rule of Two, just as Bane would have wanted, ensuring the continuation of the Sith Order. For Sidious, who did utilize pain and fear as a defining feature of his training of Vader, was defeated by Vader in a way that saw Vader turn back to the light side of the Force, and which brought with it the destruction of the Sith Order. In this regard, Sidious's training of Darth Vader was a disaster for the Sith Order. So there we have it, why Darth Sidious's way of training Darth Vader was a disaster for the Sith Order. We love making these videos, so why not subscribe for more fun Star Wars theories and discussions. Also, if you enjoyed the video, think about giving a like or leaving a comment. If not for me, for Darth Bane.